Last time was very heavy, but I did warn you. I took you into my inner dark thoughts. But I'm not somebody that likes to be defeated. So join me as I tell you how I coped with it all and became even stronger.
And came out smiling at the other end. Gosh. Let me take you back to the start of 2023. Encouraged by a friend, I started to keep a journal. I tried keeping paper journals before and writing my thoughts, but I got bored and my handwriting's not great, so it was really difficult to trace back. So I set up a simple Word document, and every day I got into the habit of writing or typing, and I enjoyed it. Little did I know when I started it how vital it would be to my recovery, because obviously when I started it I was not anticipating a heart attack being part of my year. But those long days in hospital and when I came home, I found myself writing and thinking, and journaling became a way of getting my head together, really. It was doing it online was like a journal, but better because I wasn't limited to one page. I could just type however much I wanted to. One of the things I did when I was 14, I didn't want to do it. My mum made me do it, and I will forever be thankful to her, was she sent me to night school to learn to touch type. Now, none of my friends were going to college at night school and giving up an evening, but when I complained to her, she said, well, none of your parents' mothers have mothers who are dying. She sent me to night school because she said that you'll always be able to get work as a typist. And little did she know how typing and keyboards would be in every home, on in every pocket. And I do find myself automatically putting my fingers on the home keys, and I can type without looking at the keyboard, and it sometimes throws people when I can have conversations and be chatting away without having to focus on the keyboard. And I can type quite fast still. I think when I was actually working as a secretary touch typist, I think I got my typing speed up to about 80 words a minute. But either way, I started to journal, and that was great. Then I started writing articles about my life as I was left with my thoughts, and I started compiling these together, and I think at the moment I've got about 80,000 words written that just help me reflect, and that was really positive because it enabled me to have therapy without therapy, and to then read stuff back, whether it was positive stuff or not so positive stuff. By documenting it rather than being up here, it was useful. It was great. Another thing that helped me get through it was my crafting. As you are probably aware, and you can see from the stuff around, I am a crafter. One of the things that I do every day without fail is I pick up two sticks and a ball of yarn, and I knit. It's part of my therapy, having that gentle click clack sound. Don't know if you can hear this, of the needle. I'm not somebody that likes to do complicated knitting. because for me, knitting is also a social thing. I'll do it around friends, I'll do it watching TV, I'll do it listening to an audiobook. So as you can tell, I am knitting without light touch typing. I don't have to look at it. I am relying on touch, and I can see exactly where I am with the stitches, and occasionally look down, especially when I come into the end of a row and need to do something. But for me, complicated hurts my head, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to put that down now. You can see I knit. I also do embroidery and crochet. This sweater, I'm gutted. It was a sweater I made during my recovery and wore it out with pride, loved it, and then lost it. I took it off in the pub. I went to the local pub with a friend and it was warm, and I left it behind, thinking, when I realised what I'd done, I thought it'd be there. But no, somebody decided to take it, and that left me gutted. But I still like to crochet. I like to do embroidery. As you can see from my little logo and stuff for Fat Chick, it has saved my sanity. So rather than sitting here pondering and getting worked up with my thoughts, knitting allowed me, and crafting allowed me to be positive. It allowed me to have an outcome from every day. I could see growth in projects, and it meant that I wasn't just sitting here wallowing. I could say, yay, I've made something, I've done this, and it helped me. It was great. I was also encouraged by a friend to start this being my YouTube channel, as that also has given me an outlet for my fears and taking you on the journey from the first episode where I talked about the heart attack beat by beat, so that if somebody watches that, they can see what the signs are, and other people around them would know what to do, which is get some soluble aspirin down the neck, phone 111, and keep checking the heart. Hopefully get an ambulance to them. But if you were like me, remote, several hours away from an ambulance, then at least you've got a bit of guidance there. So I hope that this has given people who have either had a heart attack or know people who have had a heart attack or are just worried about the health, something to watch. So that helped. This has really helped me. I mean that. Spaces that have sparked joy. I have in the past become quite agoraphobic. I know I did it in my last house. This was during COVID, and I didn't like leaving the house. I didn't like to be around people, and I became quite anxious about it. And I was here to start with, didn't like going out, and this was before the heart attack. But I thought I have to get out of these four walls. So there are a few places that I started to go to. First off is the Parade shops in Shrewsbury. The Parade was the old infirmary and is this fantastic building that you can't fail to see if you get the train into Shrewsbury. It overlooks the river and it's quite an imposing building. But in there is now a couple of floors of shops and apartments above and a few bars. But in there was a place that I went for a bit of solace, and that is my local yarn shop called You and Ply. And there is a lovely lady in there called Amanda who works there, and I found myself going there and squishing yarn and going to knit night. So that became a place where I could go, not if I was feeling bad, but just as someone to say, I'm going out today, I'm leaving the four walls. I then went further afield. I went to Welshpool. I was actually travelling back from my mate Jules one day on the bus, and thought I've not been to Welshpool. So the following weekend I got the bus. I could get a train, but I quite like buses. I like the knitting time that a bus allows me to have, and also you're going through the Welsh countryside as you go over the border, and that's nice. So I found myself going there, and that's when I discovered Welshpool Indoor Market. And here we are in Welshpool. I quite like Welshpool. Welshpool has been one of those places that I've come to that has just felt comfortable, just felt like it's the right place to be, and yeah, there's got something about the place that I quite like. This place is small, it doesn't have many traders, it has a great little cafe, but the traders it has are fantastic, and one in particular, there's a lady there called Kat who runs a stall that sells crystals and bits of jewellery, and she also does tarot, and I quite like having my tarot done. It allows me to see some positivity in the future, which during some of the dark days was vital to me. So I found myself going to Welshpool Market every month and sitting with Kat and having a cup of tea and a natter, and become quite good friends with her now. And so Welshpool Market, and I have to say, for my knitting friends, ka-ching. There's a story there, but I'll tell you another time. Those that know, know. So I went there and enjoy it. Another place that I go to is down in Church Stretton. Church Stretton is in the heart of the Shropshire Hills, and is this beautiful little town. I first encountered Church Stretton when I was looking for locations to film a Tolkien film which I wrote a couple of years ago. I went down with Jules and we went into the Cardiff Mill Valley up to Longmynd, and we were scouting locations, and it was great. And little did I know, when we were doing that, and incidentally there is a link to the Tolkien film below if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, why haven't you seen it? Because I have mentioned it a few times now, and you should, because I'm really proud of my first foray into research and writing films. Yes, this YouTube channel was not actually my first dabble in the old YouTube thing. Anyway, I go down to Church Stretton because there is a fantastic little place there called Scrappy's. Scrappy's is a charity shop like no other. Instead of ornaments and clothes, they take donations of unwanted craft supplies.
And here I am, outside Scrappy's. Doesn't look much from the outside, but believe me, it has really helped with my mental health over the past year. And you go down there and you have a mooch. No 2 weeks are the same. And it's a case of, if you don't get it then, you don't get it. They post on Facebook every week, and you can't reserve things, so you have, the temptation to go down there all the time is there, but you can't. It's just be impossible. And it's a good job I don't actually live closer to Church Stretton, because I would be in there all the time and my crafting supplies would be through the roof, and I have been trying to declutter and sort out my stuff. Again, just like in the other two locations, I found there were some wonderful ladies in Scrappy's, and I would go there and chat, and I could chat about anything, and I realised how vital they were becoming to my mental well-being. So I do go a lot. This isn't an advert for Scrappy's, by the way, but it is great. What they do is they support crafting within the community, in schools, and their things are so ridiculously cheap. They have a scrap corner where you can fill a trolley of stuff. And you go in, when you're in there, you find a lot of teachers and going in there, filling their basket for like £7.50, I think it is. And you can get some amazing little vines. And I have picked up quite a few bits and pieces from there, and it's great. And the ladies in there make it even more special. And also you get to see, going down there as I do, you get to meet other customers as well, and you get chatting to them, so there's a bit of community there, and I like that. So those are places that got me out the house, got me walking, got me out of my space, and gave me something really positive. And that's fantastic. I've talked about going to Aberystwyth, to the beach at times, and so that's also been a really good place for me to be, where I could just sit and people watch with my knitting and have my feet in the sand. Haven't quite got down to going down to water's edge yet and paddling, but that will come. Oh, it seems a bit too cold, and I don't want to leave my bags unattended. But those are places that have given me joy and helped with my well-being. Another thing I've been doing is I've been learning Italian. My nephew came over from Italy a couple of months after my heart attack, and we met in London, and I decided that I was going to learn Italian. Actually, it was a toss-up between Italian and Welsh, and I think I will do Welsh. The language intrigues me, and I like the way it sounds. But for now I'm doing Italian, and that's good. That again became part of my daily habit. I'd get up, I'd burn my incense, I would do my gemstone board. This is my gemstone board that I made last year, and I'm working on the current one, which is looking like this. Haven't worked out what to put in the middle yet, so I just put a little brooch on there that says Prosecco and Pearl. It amuses me. Knitting and fizzy stuff, two things that I really like. So that helped me to monitor my progress. So getting up in the morning, doing my Italian, burning my incense, doing my morning mantra, which is, I take some deep breaths and I say out loud, I am loved,
I'm wealthy, I'm healthy, I'm secure, I'm happy, I'm alive, and I'm here. And it would make me smile. And habit forming things, Italian, incense, meditation, just little short meditations really help me. I am not somebody that wears makeup, apart from red lipstick, which you can just about see, and sparkly nails. I like my sparkly nails and I like my big ring, because as I sit here typing away, I can look down and I can see sparkle, and that makes me smile. And even on a bad day, looking at sparkly nail just make me happy. They're not very long nails because I have a health issue that means that I need to keep my nails short, but they're still sparkly. I also did a CBT training course last year that, whilst it didn't give me as much as I wanted, it did help me focus and think about things, and helped with my self-healing. I reached out to somebody locally who does a podcast, and I did an episode about it. I'll put a link below. Well, actually, you can just, I haven't done many films, so you can find the film, but I'll put a link just in case I suddenly produce lots of content. Well, I will produce lots of content after this. What am I saying, maybe? Oh, woman. And I realised that I was very bad at reaching out to people when I was in crisis mode. So I reached out within the knitting community when I was trying to sell some stuff and was getting grief from people who were questioning my integrity, which wasn't helping me with my anxiety. So I reached out to the knitters, and I have a couple of weekly Zoom calls with people. A lot of them I've known for years and have met in real life. They're not just random people off the internet, but they're lovely ladies. And a couple of times, Tuesday lunchtime and Friday evening, we have a chat, and there's people all over the UK get together and talk about life, and it's good. It's a good space. It's a good place to talk and get advice, chat about the weather, chat about how cold it is, chat about knitting, whatever. There's no subject off limits. So that's been fantastic for me. And my self-healing. So reaching out was a vital part of this. I talked about my morning routines. Other things that form part of my routines have been exercise. Having left hospital barely able to walk, I can now do quite a lot of walking, and a lot of walking without pain. And how it started off was by doing chair exercises, and that got my heart pumping and my heart racing, and that improved my fitness. Something that triggered me, if you want to call it that, I'm not sure if that's the right word, and motivated me is the right thing to say, was a friend had said that he was only 60% convinced that I would make changes to my lifestyle to become healthier. And me being me, I made a sign that says I am more than 60%. So as I was sat at my desk, moving my arms around and looking like an absolute lunatic, I had this sign to look at, and I would say out loud, I am more than 60%. I am more than 60%. almost defiantly, as if, how dare you think I'm not going to do this? Because of course I am. I haven't reached the age I have and gone through everything that I have in my life to be beaten by a blinking heart attack. So that little sign, which yeah, I did enjoy stabbing and embroidering, really did motivate me at times when I didn't want to do my daily exercise. And I do exercise daily. There's not a day goes by when I don't get some form of exercise in. I've actually bought a piece of exercise kit called a Wonder Call, and I've done a few sessions on that, and it's really hurt my stomach, but this is a way of going forward and toning up and doing things. I still have a health niggle that's not heart related, pardon me, which I am going to get looked at, but we think it might be related to high cortisol levels. So I am actually seeing a doctor soon to see if we can get this tested, but it was all brought on, this all came about, this health issue came about after the heart attack, so I think it was down to anxiety. But again, I'm trying to find ways to look at how to deal with that. And one of the things that I do is, if I'm having a bad session or a flare up, I will sit at my desk and I will laugh out loud, which I know sounds really stupid, and I feel stupid, but laughing out loud really helps. And just smiling, you can't help but smile just thinking about laughing out loud. So I laugh out loud a lot. I also sing, I do my scales. I've said that I used to sing in a choir in London, and I do find myself singing along to the radio when I do put the radio on, although that is very often. So I put something on her in the corner whose name I'm not going to mention, because then she'll start to say something I don't want her to say something right now. So these are some of the things which I've been doing. I think the heart attack gave me permission to love myself again, and to become the best version of me that I could. I spent so much of my life not feeling good enough, and I am bloody good enough. Things aren't perfect, I'm not going to say they are. Life isn't all Pollyanna, roses and happiness. I'm not working, which is a cause for concern for me. But I have tried to be productive in not working. For example, who knew I could have a YouTube channel? Who knew I could do editing? But I'm in a good space. I'm in a really good space. And I know that the heart attack was traumatic, but it has allowed me to take stock of my life. And for that, I feel grateful. Does that sound crazy? I'm grateful I had the heart attack, because I now want to live. I don't just want to plod along. I want to live and do more things. But I'll talk to you more about that next time, I'm sure. Still smiling. I can't help it.
Wow. I hope you will all agree that there's actually been quite a few positives out of all of this, and the things that I've done to combat the stress. If you like what I'm doing, then it would be great if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share with anyone you think may find this interesting. Also, if you ring the bell, you'll get notifications when I upload my next video.